In today's digital age, social media has become an integral part of our lives. But as we immerse ourselves deeper into the virtual realm, the question arises, to what extent is social media bad for our psychological well-being? Psychological well-being, characterized by feelings of happiness and satisfaction, is the cornerstone of a fulfilling life. With a staggering 4.9 billion users worldwide, understanding the impact of social media on psychological well-being is more crucial than ever. Researchers have delved into this complex relationship, uncovering both positive and negative effects of social media usage. One significant aspect is how emotions portrayed on social media can influence the emotions of the user, termed digital emotional contagion. Furthermore, the nature of online communication differs drastically from traditional face-to-face interactions. The absence of verbal cues and physical presence can hinder meaningful connections and exacerbate feelings of loneliness and isolation. We will now delve into more detail regarding both aspects. So, what is digital emotional contagion? Digital emotional contagion is when an individual's own emotions mirrors the emotions conveyed in some people's social media posts. So, for example, if people view content where people are joyful and happy, they may also feel joyful and happy. Although this sounds like a quite positive thing, the flip side is that exposure to negative posts can trigger negative emotions in the viewer as well. This risk is exacerbated considering that social media companies tend to manipulate user content to increase user emotion, regardless of its positive or negative nature. For example, researchers found that Facebook users would post less frequently if exposed to less emotional content, deeming such content engaging. So it seems that increasing emotional content due to its engagement may actually be affecting the psychological well-being of some users when they are exposed to the negative kind. But when we look at statistics, it seems that only 22.4% of posts have negative connotations. So how valid is digital emotional contagion in explaining why social media is bad for our psychological well-being? One aspect to consider is that individual preferences in responding to social media content are often overlooked. Research suggests that some individuals may be more susceptible to the negative effects of social media, particularly those with neurotic personality traits or sufferers of depression. Studies have shown that individuals with neurotic traits tend to display heightened negative effects when exposed to negative information on social media platforms. Furthermore, depressive symptoms often involve cognitive biases, such as selective abstraction, which is when someone focuses particularly on the negatives of a situation, and so be more prone to consuming negative social media posts. So, although positive posts are abundant, it's essential to recognize its potential impact on mental health, especially for those already vulnerable. The points mentioned referring to digital emotional contagion suggest it may induce poor psychological well-being due to feelings shown being transferred to the user, such as sadness, with some people being more at risk than others. However, digital emotional contagion does not acknowledge the effects that communication via social media may have on its users. Leading on to the next part of the video, discussing how online communication differs to communication in real life. One key model to consider is the hyperpersonal model, which describes how online communication uses nonverbal cues, allowing people to communicate in a socially desirable way by selecting what they wish to disclose and how. Researchers suggest that online communications may be superior to face-to-face communication due to the benefits reduced social cues may provide, such as being able to strategize what information to display in order to convey a positive self-portrayal, like, for example, not showing nervousness. This may be especially beneficial for people's psychological well-being in a sense that it could alleviate and compensate for the anxiety some in-person communication may cause. For example, having an online alternative on where to seek relationships, like via social media, can help people who fear rejection as they feel they can better portray their true identity. Also, research suggests that there is more between partner attraction when using online communication, rather than face-to-face communication, increasing confidence in attempting to initiate future romantic prospects if they are online. However, although the hyperpersonal model could explain the potential benefits of online communication for psychological well-being, it may not be relevant in the present day, as the model relies on the absence of verbal cues, but with social media platforms incorporating video and audio communication, the previously mentioned ways that online communication can help enhance psychological well-being may be deemed outdated. Additionally, text-only communication may also not apply to the effects of the hyperpersonal model due to the introduction of smileys, images of faces inspired by emojis, which allow emotive facial expressions, normally only present in face-to-face interactions, to be unambiguously portrayed through text. This may prevent the mechanism by which the hyperpersonal model increases intimacy and intensity of self-disclosure, depleting its benefits. Lastly, language errors on online platforms can reduce social and romantic attractiveness, suggesting that the previously thought benefits of computer-mediated communication may not be applicable to people with learning disabilities like dyslexia, highlighting the importance of individual differences when concluding to what extent social media is bad for psychological well-being. To conclude, the impact of social media on psychological well-being is a multifaceted topic, with various contradicting research and implications. Digital emotional contagion describes how negative emotions portrayed in social media can negatively affect users, particularly those with underlying health conditions. Also, although previously argued to be beneficial for psychological well-being, especially for individuals apprehensive about rejection and seeking romantic relationships, modern-day communication through audio and video do not meet the assumptions of the hyperpersonal model. Despite potential advantages, the collective evidence suggests that the negative effects of social media on psychological well-being outweigh the benefits.